Okay, I would like to give my alternative opinion on what people buy and what is good and bad. That is just my view. So, because I see many times people are not satisfied with what they have, either autofocus or sharpness or this or that. I can tell you, in most cases, autofocus actually is not used for cinematography. They use depth of field or they pull focus. So you've seen probably they have rails, and suppose somebody is running and parallel to that is like a rail kind of path and small cart and some kind of guys pushing. So what they do is they basically on a cart going and the actor is going, so they go parallel. So in this case you use depth of field. Depth of field, it means you close aperture and you have certain depth of field which is sharp within certain distance. So suppose you have a person talking. So what you do is you manually focus on the person. Now for the depth of field you need to close aperture somewhere, because with the most open aperture you will not have depth of field, so you need to close a little bit. I would say the easiest way tell a person to have hand on the front like this. Suppose they want to show product. Okay, suppose this is a product. I have like small lens like this. This lens is actually attachment for cell phone, wide angle. But suppose where I'm gonna show, I extend my arm to certain distance, so you do not touch focus. You just close the aperture to the point it is sharp where I want to show, what they call product show. So that would be depth of field. So from here to the body it will be sharp. Anything closer will not be sharp, and behind the person for some distance will be sharp. After that is not sharp. So after that you can go and talk, and actually you can move and everything will be sharp. Another way which is okay, suppose you put like light stand. You take light stand, you know, like not the heavy one, light stand, and suppose where arm should be, put one arm, the one stand there, light stand there, and the second one put light stand behind. So, and then put tapes on the bottom, on the floor, tape, just like masking tape for fixing walls or painting. Put masking tape on the bottom, and then suppose person is standing between those two light stands, you make focus on that person and then you close the aperture so the front stand and the back stand is sharp. That's how far you need to close the aperture. You don't need to close too much, but if you don't expect to show something on the back, you don't focus so much how sharp on the back. if you are shooting something like the person is removing the backpack, or somebody is jumping on him, or certain things you want to show in the back, then you need to assume certain depth of field for the back. But in general, you don't need to worry about the depth of field that much. So anyway, you make sharp based on that. That would be for the depth of field. That's how you shoot. So suppose you shoot cooking show. So from, suppose he moves here or there, or she moves here and there, you can have manually set everything to a certain depth of field. They can move within that. They cook or cut or whatever. So as soon as you set, then you start shooting. So you can shoot with manual focusing, and you will never have problems. And people always make big kind of accent on how bad the autofocus is, because they have very shallow depth of field, and that's a problem. So if you want good depth of field and everything sharp, you set before everything and then shoot. So for professional video, you don't jump in and push the button. If you use manual focusing, you come, focus, but not just there. Don't try to always go with the shallow depth of field. Focus there, but make it a little bigger depth of field. So you need to close a little bit aperture, allow them to move here and there, or she will be moving here and there, they will be sharp. That's how you shoot manually. You allow certain depth of field. Or for instance, if somebody is shooting on a rail, for instance, one cart on a rail and second guy is running, they will not make the most shallow depth of field. They will give certain room. The person is a little bit left and right. It's not exact. They might have certain depth of field, 2-3 yards this way, 2-3 yards other way. So within that depth of field would be good, the rest would be out of focus. So whoever is thinking you need to always shoot with open aperture, that's not really a correct statement. In fact, I went to Canon building before. They had classes, and one guy said, I was shooting like on 1.2 or 2 with 50 millimeters, and my client is always saying you need to shoot with 5.6. His client didn't like the look of 1.2 or f2. His client liked to have more in focus, not just a part of the body. You see, that's what I mean. So especially when it comes to video or cinematography, you need to allow depth of field not only like in photography but also for the action. They can deviate a little bit. So you are not always supposed to go with very shallow depth of field. That's why you can see probably many movie sets, they have huge powerful light. They have huge powerful light because if they close for the depth of field, they need to have a lot of light to have right ISO or grain or whatever. Anyway, for those people who don't mind to pull focus, and some time ago I said it's a good camera, I actually consider this for myself, even if many people don't look at it, but I think it's a good camera. This one, BS1H. So it's not costing you $6,000 like Sony FX7. This costs like $2,500. Sometimes you can get for $2.1 for $2,000. Prices sometimes from place to place different. So this camera actually costs $2,000 or $2,500. It is not like Sony FX6 costing $6,000. Now, the good part of Sony FX6 may be autofocus, but people report autofocus is not that great. And another thing is it doesn't have stabilization, that camera. Now, for some people who don't want to spend that much, I would actually suggest this one. I consider too. And Panasonic is known as good for stabilization. So this has e-stabilization, and this is from Panasonic. If you see on the top, it says panasonic.co.jp. This is from Panasonic side, and it tells about stabilizer. Like in case of Sony FX6, everything fine, low light, but stabilization is a problem. Like if you want to shoot cooking show with your camera on the shoulder, it could be too much of shakes. Trust me, for cooking show you might have a lot of light. You're not gonna shoot cooking show in the darkness. So for cooking show you have a lot of light. You can put extra light, because FX6 suppose is better for the light. This a little bit less good or not so good. So for this camera you put a little bit more light, but Panasonic is known for very good stabilization. So you have e-stabilization and you have boost. Now expect crop. They do talk about this. I will post this link that you can check for yourself. So they do talk about the crop. So if you consider any lenses, then that would be, you should go with wider lenses, assuming the crop. So now this camera can record internally, and in fact this camera was approved by Netflix. And if you don't want to spend $6,000 on Sony FX6 or Canon C300, the latest one, I think this is a good one. You can record internally, and if it's not for Netflix, no need RAW, you can record internally, or you can buy additional Ninja. So the Ninja recording. Now this is recording with, suppose 4K 30 FPS, but if you want 60 or more, you need to go to crop mode. This camera can be used as crop sensor or Super 35. You can buy lenses for that too. You can use everything as Super 35 camera, or you can use as full frame. And the price would be half price of FX6, even with Ninja. So you can buy Ninja and you can get this. Still the price is like less than $3,000, which is half of FX6. So I think this is a good decision, and you can build a rig with this camera. You can add battery, you can add whatever, SSD if you like, and I don't think Netflix will approve bad camera. The only thing about this camera is autofocus, but when it comes to stabilization, I think this is better than FX6. Panasonic is known as the best or one of the best for stabilization. So to me, this camera, if you're okay with to shoot with manual focus, I think this is a good camera. Especially this is good for studio. Like studio, because it has ventilation. It has good ventilation. You don't need to worry about overheating. In crop mode you can shoot 4K 60 if you want. And it has a lot of different outputs, SDI, HDMI, full size. And this camera, why I like also is because you can use it's called multicam, because realistically looking, if you shoot, for instance, if I shoot a documentary, the way my school was telling me, basically you need to shoot, the best way is to shoot, to me, with 3 cameras, 3 camera multicam. If you decided to buy 3 FX6 for multicam, to me that is kind of a big expense. I don't know, like it could be okay, it depends on budget, but if you are kind of like a YouTuber, so in case of YouTube, I don't know, man, 3 FX6 to buy in one shot. 3 of this one would be okay. Or if you don't like this one, you can buy maybe 1 of this, or maybe two of this, and you need to have 3rd one, something else, like say Lumix 2X or something. Why do I like 3 for interview? Because in case of interview, you point one camera to one guy and then another camera to second guy, and then I like 3rd camera for all of them. That's how I like to shoot, 3 cams for multicam. You can shoot with 1, but you need to tell them stop, and then, so suppose somebody is asking question, you shoot him, and then you stop, move camera, he's answering. So you need to keep moving cameras. That is a big headache to me. The whole shooting will look very kind of stupid to me. So the smallest setup, that would be 2 camera. 1 camera on one guy, 2nd camera on 2nd guy. So one is asking, 2nd one is answering. But sometimes what the whole, you know, the shot of both, it's not establishing shot, but there is established shot, and there is like, suppose 2 people shot and then individual shot. So if I want 2 people shots, I need to have a 3rd camera. You know what I mean? So in this case, to me, Panasonic, particularly this camera for studio, is very good. I have 1 on 1, 2nd on 2nd, and 3rd one shooting both of them. If I want something extra, then I can have 4th one with a guy on a shoulder walking around shooting something. In this case I have good stabilization, and he would need to use manual focus. Just focus, assume depth of field focus, and then shoot. Even if they move left and right, they will be in focus. That's how I look. So to me, actually, this is a good studio camera, even if many people kind of, yeah, it is not for maybe the best of cinema cameras for Hollywood, but for like interview, for like studio interviews, that would be very good. And you can find, they have information about multicam, maybe not here, let me see. Okay, BS1H. Multicam. I've seen Panasonic is given, they have certain software even. To me, that is the most affordable way for documentary, you know, interview kind of shooting. It's very easy setup. You don't need to spend a lot of time. Just shoot all 3 cameras at one time. Hold on. I have Wi-Fi for my desktop, which is strange. Okay, so it should be Panasonic site. I've seen it. Multicam software. Okay, download. Okay, it's called Tether. Some kind of. Okay, so, and then they have a bunch of cameras. You can do the same with other ones, not BS1H. They have other cameras, even G9, G Mark II, but ventilation wise, I think BS1H is the best one. And I was checking for output for you know, those Mbps. I think it's the best one for full frame. Somewhere it's a little bit better than S5 Mark II. For certain output is better. Netflix approved it, so it's okay for, especially for YouTube Studio, it's okay. So anyway, there is like certain software. Okay, and then also I think it's the same. So basically there is this one, Multicam, and they have a program, Multicam. It's working pretty good. You just click on each, it's like a big button, it's like a small screen become a big button. You click on it, and like I have Sony, no, it was Sony, but now not Sony, it's Vegas. I use Vegas editing, and Vegas editing is allowing multicam, so I can assign each camera, and then I just click on it, and I would record only whatever I clicked on. So it's easier to edit. I just pick what part to record. Anyway, now with this camera, I think it's pretty good. Many people think lenses are problem. I think the Lumix Pro 24-70 is okay, good quality. If you don't want to spend a lot of money, I think this is good quality, this one, Pro 24-70. So that Lumix BS1H, suppose I use three cam setup, multicam for interview, I think this would be good enough. I've seen it. You can check on pictures online. They have good results, very sharp. If you want something better than like like a 24-270 SL. So SL is the same as L mount. You see, it's a SL. So this lens is a little bit more expensive, but for $1,800 it's possible. I believe this one is a little bit better than a Lumix Pro, but you pay a little bit more. But still, price is affordable. And for interview, you don't need really a super wide angle. 24 for 270, that's all. You can have like 70 for each guy, and for both of them use 50 millimeters or 35. That's good enough. Now, if you think about Super 35, because you need to use 60 frames per second or slow motion FPS, there is one, it's called Leica T lenses. I don't know what's going on with this. Okay, T lenses. T lenses basically it's a certain lenses for certain camera which is crop sensor, which is Super 35. So if you don't want to spend on adapting full size lens, you can buy a crop sensor lens and the price would be less. Like, take a look at Samilux. This Samilux full frame would cost you probably $5,000. But if you buy Samilux TL 35mm, which would be equal to 50mm full frame, costs $1,700. So I believe actually that camera, Lumix BS1H, if for some instance you think, yeah, I like to use this for sport, yeah, you can use for sport, suppose with this with this lens, a T lens. They call TL. That TL should fit L. TL mount and L mount should be the same. So TL, Leica T. Leica T is like Q2 or Q3 cameras, but it should be good. You can check with the store. To me, from what I know, T mount can go on L mount, no problem. Let me see, Leica T mount versus L mount. So it says TL lenses, wood cover, APS-C sensor. SL is like for full frame. So the mount is used by Leica TL discontinued. But that lens should fit. Okay, T mount turned into L mount. To me, it's not a problem. But if you buy, make sure with a store or any place you buy from. To me, well, they had T mount, but later they changed the name to L mount. So TL should, okay, this one. Up to certain time it was T and suddenly they changed to L. But it should work. You can check with them. Like a TL2. How about this one? Wiki. L-mount. Okay, L-mount exists in two versions. APS-C version TL and full frame version SL. TL lenses mounted on full frame cameras will cause the camera to use a crop mode from the center of the sensor corresponding to the APS-C coverage of the lens. So SL lenses mounted on TL cameras function normally providing 1.5x crop field of view, as is typical with APS-C cameras. So basically, to me, there is no problem. So if somebody want to save on Leica lenses and they really like Leica lenses, but they don't want to pay $5,000 for Samilux, this is a good option. Get Samilux TL, switch everything to crop mode, and shoot everything in crop mode, and with that you will be better than Micro Four Thirds, because this sensor is bigger than Micro Four Thirds, and this sensor will give you better bokeh than Micro Four Thirds sensor, and this is a bigger lens. To me, this is very interesting approach to use TL lenses for Super 35. But you have camera approved by Netflix. All the processing is fine. Anyway, this is my alternative view on today's cameras and setups and studio setups and what can be used, good or bad. That is just my opinion. Have a good time. Bye.